Hey everyone, this is Eric Gardiner with Blackwell Realty Group. I'm just here with my friend Daniel Mendoza. He works for the U of U doing air quality research and stuff. Daniel, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Eric. I'm Daniel Mendoza, and I'm a research assistant professor in the Department of Atmospheric Sciences and also a pulmonary fellow in the School of Medicine at the University of Utah.
So the first question I kind of want to get answered is, what's causing a lot of our air quality issues here along the Wasatch Front?
That's a really good question, and there are many real reasons as to why we have so many problems here in the Wasatch Front, particularly in Salt Lake Valley and Utah Valley, and it's because of our geography. So if I just take Salt Lake County as an example, we live in a basin, and then what happens is we have mountains on either side of us, the Oakers to the west, the Wasatch to the east, and then a small mountain chain that many people forget, which is the Traverse Mountains on the south. And because we do have the Great Salt Lake, we do get this lake breezes that actually push pollutants in. So when we have our wintertime inversions, which everyone is familiar with, is when cold air gets trapped below warmer air. And so because of that, we end up having this accumulation of pollutants that are not able to disperse.
Okay, so all of it just kind of stays in the center and it just can't get away then?
Exactly, because during the winter we don't have a lot of energy because the sun is not giving us a lot of heat, so then the winds cannot pick up and actually take this pollutants away. During the summer, we normally have much more energy, so then these pollutants can actually disperse more, winds are stronger, etc. So that's our wintertime problems. Our summertime problems, much like the majority of the American West, because we're at high elevation and we have ozone problems. So that's our summertime issues.
So is there a certain time of year that's worse than the other? Or how's the ebb and flow between seasons, I guess?
The way that we have our pollution seasons is, again, we have these events, specific inversion events that happen with some certain irregularities during the winter, and then during the summer we have elevated ozone. It really depends. For example, I suffer from asthma, and the summer is significantly worse for me in terms of my health impacts. I know that for some people, the wintertime PM 2.5 is actually worse for them. So it really is sort of a toss-up. One of the issues that we had this summer, though, was the increase in wildfires, both locally and from places far away as California and the other western states. So that actually gave us sort of a little bit of the worst of both worlds. We had high ozone, as we normally do during the summer, but then we also had the added particulate matter pollution from the wildfires.
So, Daniel, what kind of precautions can we take during those really bad days or weeks, or what would you recommend we do?
So there are a few things that we can do, and I think a lot of it really is mainly common sense, at least particularly during the winter. When we do see these really bad inversion events, it's usually better to stay indoors. If you must be outdoors, then you could also consider wearing a mask. So there are some mask manufacturers, but you must make sure that this is sort of an approved mask that actually has some scientific data to support it, because many people, it's become a cottage industry in the sense that everyone makes a mask, but not all masks are created equally. You may also consider a study that just came out that I was a part of, looked at putting indoor HEPA filters inside your house, and that actually does reduce indoor air pollution. And then other things that one can do really to benefit the entire society is to consider reducing the number of car trips, perhaps using transit, and see if your companies can allow you to telecommute.
Awesome, yeah. Telecommuting is a great thing, and it seems to be pretty popular nowadays, too. Mm-hmm. So to continue on that telecommuting and that sort of stuff, what other things can we do in our community to help improve the air quality that we live in? So
there are many sort of small behavioral things that we can change. For example, as I was walking in today to meet you, I saw there are a few people who are idling their cars. There's really no need to do that. Studies have been made. A lot of people complain that if they shut off their car engine, all of a sudden their cars are going to become unbearably hot or unbearably cold. That actually takes about 10 minutes for that to happen, really. And then I think it's intuitively many people just subconsciously get into their car and then they turn on their car and then they start checking their text messages or things like that. Maybe try not to do that, because even though air quality is sort of a larger scale problem, we're still responsible, and we can actually manage about between 50 and 80% of what we call our microenvironment, what us and our neighbors are breathing. Other things, for example, is trying to replace older lawnmowers, for example, with either newer ones that are cleaner or even electric ones, because that's generally one of the easiest fixes.
Yeah, I actually recently got an electric battery-powered lawnmower.
That's
it's been great so far. Lastly, Daniel, are there any websites where we can find out more information about this that you could recommend?
Yeah, so the Division of Air Quality actually has a really great app, which is called the Utah Air app. If you just look for it, it's both available in Android and iOS. And so that actually tells you, well, with some degree of accuracy, what the air quality is at the closest station next to you. So the station that is actually closest to you. And then we do have at the University of Utah a website which is called air.utah.edu. And that also compiles some of the regulatory air quality along with the measurements that we have at the university. And so you can actually take a look at the map and then try to figure out where are you in relation to our observations, and then that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the air quality near you is.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and we'll definitely add a link to that app or that website below or in this video. So if you do have questions, you can check that out. You can also email me or reach out to me, and I can give you Daniel's contact information also. Well, Daniel, I do appreciate you sitting down with me for a few minutes to talk about this, because it's a pressing issue in our environment and in our city. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Eric, and I appreciate that you and Blackwell Realty are looking into this. This is definitely a large issue for everyone, especially if you're considering buying a home. It's probably a really good idea to figure out where you're going to be located and potentially also where your kids are going to be going to school.
That's right. Thank you so much.